Since we're getting into the festive season, I want to show you how to make a garland. We're going to use every scrap piece of material that you have. So if you have scrap pieces, little pieces, maybe, something like this, these pieces are good. I'm keeping it in the Christmas theme, so I pulled out all my Christmassy scraps. Okay, so we're going to use those. In order to make the actual skeleton part of it or the inside of it, you can use a piece of string. This is a pretty thick twine. You can use a rope, kind of a thin rope. But I like this because it can move. It's got move. You can use this string, but it's kind of stiff. It doesn't really give like I like it to give. Okay, you can use it though. It's kind of cool. So I'm just going to stick to this string. Now what I want to do is get the string. I'll tell you what the supplies are. You have some string. You have some material. Those are the two items. That's basically it. Now, if you want to embellish it a little bit more, which I'm going to do, you can use ribbon that you have, just extra ribbon. You can use yarn. I have a bag of some kind of stuffed ribbon. I know everybody has stuff. And, of course, bells. I actually have this box of cute little bells. I might use that on my project. I got these red bells. Got lots of bells. Maybe you've all collected bells in the past. You want to make the string as long as you want your garland. The last one I made was about 6 feet long. So just measure out how long you want the garland. I'm going to go ahead and use this measuring thing. This is 36. Let's see. 36. 36. That makes a nice long garland, but it's not long enough. I like it to go over a doorway. So I'm just gonna keep making, because you always can stop. You can always cut it off at the end. So I'm gonna do 4 of these, 5 of these, okay? And cut it off. The other thing you can do, if it's too thin, is double it up, which I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna tie a knot at the top, like that. And then I'm gonna just double up that thread all the way down. And once you get started on this, you can just watch an old movie, you can do whatever you want. And then just tie the bottom together. So now I just have one long string for my garland. Okay, we're done with this yarn, or with the string. Okay, so now the next thing to do is prepare your material. And you don't need to iron anything, you don't need to really cut anything. We're gonna rip, okay? You're gonna rip pieces. But I do use scissors to get things started, so I'll cut like this and rip. Cut. And you want that piece to be about, let's see, a 1/2 inch wide. So just keep cutting. And this is a 49ers, but it's red and gold, so that's a kind of a Christmassy color. And when you cut it in strips, it's just colorful. So you do that with as many pieces as you want. You're going to make a ton of pieces, and don't worry how long they are right now. Just make a bunch. I have some candy cane pieces. Now you'll notice that this one it's like a shorter piece, but that's okay. That's about how long we're going to make them anyway. So that can go this way. You can make them fat, you can make them skinny, but keep it generally to the 1/2 inch mark. 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch, something like that. So you'll notice that this one is 1 inch. I like that. You can do 1/2 inch, you can do 1 inch, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to just cut these up like that. And this is going to take me a couple hours, and so I'm going to do this off camera, and I'll be right back. Here's a good start. And now I'm not done because this is just the start. But if you'll notice, some of them are long, some of them are short, some of them are really long, okay? Just keep tearing and tearing and tearing, and we will cut these off at about this length. Because all you're going to do is you're just going to tie a knot around the rope. That's it. Tie a knot around the rope. And however long you want to make these is how long your garland is going to be in thickness. But don't be concerned of all the threads coming off, because this makes it part of it, the uniqueness of it. All these different little pieces of thread, don't cut them off. We want to keep those. That makes it crazy. So let's just work with what I have right now. I'll get it started, and then you can continue finishing it up. If you want, you can put a ring on one of the ends if you want to hang them. I don't want this hanging on the bottom of my garland and clicking against a wall or something, so I'm not going to use it. I'm going to leave it plain on both ends so that I can just drape it wherever I want. So to get started though, you want to cut all your pieces close to the same length. This is a good length to be. Now this one I can cut in half. So there's that and that. So they're not all the same length. So just cut your pieces in half if you have to. And you don't, and this is wrinkly, that's okay. Gives it character. Don't worry about it. Just cut that in half. You'll get comfortable with how much garland you want to have hanging out. Okay, so let's just start with these little pieces that I have right here. And all you do is, it's probably a good idea to connect this to something, you know, so that you can do this, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to tie around the top. Make sure the color of the strip faces out. Once you get the first one going, it makes it easy for the rest. And you just tie a knot like that. That's how you start. I'm going to tie another one. You can actually tie it anywhere and then slide it up. And you could do a double knot or a single knot. Just tie it. It will not come out. So then you just go up like that. Take another piece, tie it. This is a shorter piece. Remember back in the day where you used to have rag curls? I don't know if anybody remembers that, but my mom used to tie her hair up in rags and curl our hair. This reminds me of it. All right, so then I do the next one. Tie it in here. All right, so I'm going to keep doing this until I get about a foot, and then I'm going to show you how to embellish. All right? And I'll be right back. Let me chime in just a moment here. This one's a little short, so I just cut a little strip down the middle. I tear it, and then simply tie it onto this piece here. And you want to make sure you tie the knot as close to the center as possible on that material, like that, and then push it up. I'm only tying one knot. Here's another thin one. Make sure it's in the center, tie it, and push. Now this is what I've gotten so far. Doesn't look like much, but boy, when you get a whole strand of this, it's absolutely gorgeous. And with the different things we're going to interject. Matter of fact, let's do one now. I'm just going to grab this ribbon. I'm going to make it as long as the other ones, but I'm going to rip it because it looks like it's kind of thick. Of course, this one doesn't rip, of course. So I'm going to cut it. And you don't have to cut it. You can keep it. And then I'm just going to tie it right into it. So every now and then you want to add a lace or a ribbon, you can do so. See, and that adds flavor. And I want to add this to it. And push it up. So see how that gold just added to it? And then I can add, so see what else I have. I have some lace. This is kind of thick. So I'm going to cut it in half. Now I like the lace to have thickness. So I like it to be wide like this, and it's easier to tie as lace. I'm going to cut it about that long. I'm going to put it right in here. And tie a knot right around that rope. Make sure it's in the middle. And then push it up. See now, look at the quality. It's getting cute and cute and cute. Wait till you see it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and keep doing this, and I'll be back. So this is what I have so far. I'm going to speed up some of this so that you can see how I incorporate things into this project. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. Let's see. Let me get my camera down right. Okay. Tie this. What I find as well is if I put the face up of the material against the string and tie, you're more likely to see more of the color of the design as opposed to doing it the other way. But they both work. Okay, so I want to do something extra. Here's where I add a bell. Let's say I want to put a bell like every foot or so. So I'm going to add a bell. Like green ones. Dollar store. Use some of the yarn or some string. There's a piece. You want to thread it through the bell. Like that. And then just randomly tie it anywhere inside. Find a little spot and tie it. Like that. And I do a double knot. And I just cut off, not a lot, just I cut off a little bit so that this thread stays. And now you start hearing the jingles. And you get about 15 or 20 on here. It's a really nice jingle bell. You can actually add real bells. You can add pine cones. Whatever you have to add to this. But I'm going to continue making the skeleton part of it all the way down. And then I'll be back when I'm close to the end. It took me almost 5 hours to make this long garland. You can hear it. I added bells along the way. I added ribbon. And so I'm going to finish up this last part to show you how I did it. Let's see where my next bell is. Okay, I'm going to put this bell at the bottom. But I have some things left. This is just a little bit that I have left. So I'm just going to use what I have left. To tie here. Now I did have the end of the string like tied to something or between my legs or on my foot, you know, so I had it taut. But you could do whatever you want. And then I finish this. Tie that and up. So I'm going to put the end of the string between my knees so that it's a little tight as I try to tie these together. And I have another ribbon I want to use. And some more red. And let's see, I have just a little bit left here. That one's too small, so let's grab a larger one. Tie it. And a little bit more And I also found lace, and I used pieces of lace. For example, let's just use a little bit of this one. This is a really wide piece, and so what I've done is I take off a little bit of the top, like that, and cut it. So now I have this nice piece, and since it's so wide, I cut it in half. If it's not very wide, I don't cut it in half. And sometimes I leave the ruffle part on it. It makes it nice. So I'm going to cut that in half and cut this in half. So I like to put this one here. It could be thick because it ties up very nicely. Okay. And I'll do this, and then I'm going to add a bell. So what I did was I have these bells. I have variety bells. I have little bells, big bells, small bells, medium-sized bells, and I used a yarn in some, and then sometimes I'd use a gold twine. I would just tie it around the rope or the string that I'm working off of fairly tightly, but you want to be able to push it up so it's inside. And I leave these pieces on here. I'll finish it up. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. Like this. And a little bit of this. I've just got a little bit more to go. I want to use up all this that I cut. I mean, I spent hours cutting it. I might as well use it. I have some ribbon I'm going to put here. And I have just a little bit to go. Oops. And I'm going to throw that on there. Might as well, it's there. And let's see, what else do I have here? And then I'll finish with this. Okay. All right. So out of that whole long thingy that I did, I only have about this much left. I measured it on a door and it was about the right size. I had made this a little too long, but that's okay. All I'm going to do is cut it off and tie a knot at the bottom. So that if I do want to hang it on a door or something, it's got a hole here and I can just hang it on a tack. This is all there is to making this beautiful garland. I think it's about 5.5, 6 feet long. I even have a bell. Look at this bell. There's other bells in here. Here's a pretty red one. Then you can add different things if you want, pine cones, embellishments, but I just really like this. And I did find some rickrack. Look at that, little rickrack. And then I would do some more. Then I would tie in some kind of something. You see, the little extra fun stuff. Then I would sew it, tie a little more, and then I would tie in another ruffle. And then I would do a little more, and I would tie in a ribbon. You see, so it's up to you to do that. It's harder to try to tie it in when it's done. It's good to do it as you go. So just have a pile of ribbon off to the side. Your bell's ready to go, and you can just do like every foot, do a bell, some ribbon, and such. So that's what I did. That's all there is to making this. It's absolutely gorgeous to hang up above a doorway. Well, this is Make It Now with Linda Lang. I hope you enjoyed this class. See you next time.